Tim Koehl, CS Bell, thanks for joining us here this morning. I'm going to take a few minutes and talk about the CS Bell Company and my endeavors to save its history. My first job right out of high school in 1970 was making bells for Elmer Rathwig at the CS Bell Company here in Hillsboro, Ohio. Elmer had bought the remains of the largest manufacturer of cast iron bells in America. He turned the foundry around in no time. My job started as a laborer, a grunt, on the foundry floor, shoveling sand, doing whatever we had to do. I worked my way up to become the operator of the cupola. So I was given the secret formula, the CS Bell secret formula for crystal metal. I worked at the foundry there until the 90s when Emerson Electric bought it, and they did away with casting white iron for bells and grinders and so forth. They went strictly with gray iron castings. So Elmer moved the white iron work, the bells and so forth, to Tiffin, Ohio, and started another foundry in Kenton, Ohio, and invited me along. It was at Kenton Iron Products that we cast the bells and grinder parts for years up until the 1990s, when the foundry industry in America unfortunately went into a deep spiral. In 1990, Kenton Iron Products was closed as well. Certain of the bell patterns for the post mount bells went to Washington State and are still being made today by the Prindle Station. So PrindleStation.com will get you spare parts for the post mount bells if you need them. After my stint with CS Bell in the foundry business, I took the money I made and went to work for Edward Jones Investments and spent 20 years there. In retirement now, I've had an opportunity to look back at my years at the CS Bell Company. And the more I looked into it, the more amazed I was by what this family accomplished. And when I say family, it was CS Bell who started the firm in 1858. His son, C.E. Bell, who followed him, was a part of the business until his death, and his granddaughter, C.E.'s daughter, was also involved in very successfully running the business. It was Virginia Bell that rescued the company during World War II. The request, the demand for heavy iron was being replaced very quickly by lighter composite metals and so forth. So gray iron foundries were having a tough row to hoe. Virginia, leaving New York, came back to Ohio to the foundry to take over running it, looking for new lines of business to get involved in. She completely changed the management up, brought in new people. Their average age was 32 years old, and together they implemented new production procedures and so forth and started to turn the foundry around. The big break they got was in the early 40s. Europe was on fire. World War II was about to explode, and there was a shortage of copper and non-ferrous products. They needed it for making munitions. CS Bell said, hey, we can make iron bells for the Navy and save them all of that copper. It's not exactly sure how it went together. You'll find it in the book. But CS Bell ended up with a Navy contract that made tens of thousands of bells for the three major allies, our three major allies in World War II, which were the United States, Great Britain, and Russia. Yep, during World War II, we made tens of thousands of bells for the Russian Navy. We also made thousands of bells for the ships program. You remember Rosie the Riveter? All the ladies going to the work, building ships. All of those ships needed bells, and CS Bell was happy to produce them. So tens of thousands of bells were shipped all over the world to Russian, British, and our other allies that were supplying all of our navies around the world. So the more I investigated, the more I got excited about this company. And I realized that this is a story that had to be told. They were the largest manufacturer of white iron bells, we know in the United States, but I'm guessing all around the world. So in our research, the more we found, the more we wanted to know. We uncovered things we had no ideas. We understood that during World War II, C.S. Bell made any number of bells for ships and transports and so forth. But what we didn't know, and what we've recently been able to validate, is that the C.S. Bell Company here in Hillsboro made hundreds of different parts for the transports, Navy transports, that supplied the navies all around the world.